Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'll be doing my review of AEW Dynasty 2025. So first up on the card, we had Will Ospreay defeating Kevin Knight in the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, in a match that was really good. I very much enjoyed it. It was probably my second or third best match of the night. And yeah, just a really good way to start the show off, and a very big sign of things to come on the pay-per-view. I thought the wrestling quality throughout the night was really good. But yeah, both had awesome counters to each other. You could tell that Knight had definitely done his homework on Will Ospreay and definitely knew the kind of stuff that he was going to go for. And yeah, he countered it really well. The styles clash into a DDT I thought was very, very good, very innovative. And there was a move on the outside, or it might have been that one, that they did was really cool. And yeah, the chemistry between these two was just really on point, and I very much look forward to seeing these two go at it again, because yeah, everything seemed to work really well between these two. Yeah, and also great resiliency shown by Kevin Knight. Two hidden blades put him down for the pin instead of just the one, which a lot of people normally just have the one. So yeah, that was, I said, Kevin Knight looked very, very good in defeat here, and you can tell like AEW are going to try and build something around him just because of like the push he's got so far, teaming with Ospreay, and then now having a very good replacing Jay White as well. Which, to be fair, Jay White versus Ospreay would have been a great match, and I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to see that match, but if Jay White's injured, he's injured. Nothing you can really do about that. But yeah, I said, really good way to start the show. Absolutely solid match. One of the better ones on the card. And yeah, it was a very good sign of things to come. Following that, we had the Hurt Syndicate successfully retain the Tag Team Championships against Big Bill and Brian Keith, in a match that was pretty decent. It was good for what it was, and like the whole the Hurt Syndicate couldn't quite get grasp of Big Bill, but then once they did, it kind of went more into their favour. Brian Keith, for me, like, he had a decent showing, but he still very much was just there. You can kind of tell by the fans' reactions that Bill is probably the more over person within the group of the Learning Tree. You know, people aren't the biggest fan of Jericho right now. Brian Keith's just there, but Bill seems to be like it's becoming slowly a fan favourite, which I can see why they're planting seeds of Jericho turning, because I feel like Bill as a babyface will probably work really well. MJF's involvement didn't shock me at all. It made sense with the whole story they're going for. I don't think it's going to lead to him joining the Hurt Syndicate. I think if anything, it's going to turn into Lashley versus MJF at some point. I don't know whether it would make pay-per-view though, just because of them having the World Tag Team titles. But yeah, I said, very predictable result, which kind of took away from the match a little bit. You know, I had absolutely no doubts that the Hurt Syndicate were going to walk away as champions here. And yeah, that was very much the case. The match itself was solid, like a half-decent match for something that goes on second. But yeah, I said, Hurt Syndicate looked really good. Bill's really over. Brian Keith was there. But yeah, I said, it was. I don't really have anything bad to say. It was just fine for what it was. After that, we had Mercedes Mone defeat Julia Hart in the first round of the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And again, this was a solid match. Like, it did pick up a lot real near the end. I thought that Julia Hart looked very strong in defeat. You know, she was in the statement maker for a long time. But yeah, I never expected Mercedes to lose, which did kind of take away from the match a little bit. I can't remember now, with it being like the day after, like a big part of this match. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. It was just a solid women's match. We know Mercedes can have really good matches if she wants to. This was a very good example. I felt like if the TBS title was on the line, they maybe could have gone a little bit longer, could have gone in a little bit more for these two, but maybe it's something they want to do in the future and revisit Julia versus Mercedes. But yeah, as a first round match, I thought it was really good. And yeah, it was just a solid match to have on where it was. Yeah, that's it. I really don't have much to say about this one. It was just fine for what it was. I never expected Mercedes to lose. Therefore, like, you know, it was anything. But Julia was getting big reactions, which was really good. A lot of people were behind Julia for this one. I feel like that's going to be a good reason to kind of push her more towards the championship once again and have these two meet. And a match that has, though it had stakes, have more stakes. But yes, it was a fine match. What it was like the last one. Following that, we had the Deathriders retain the Trios Championships against Rated FTR. And yeah, I thought this was a really good match. I thought that the unpredictability factor of I really did not know who was going to get the win in this one really helped this one massively. Yuta is getting Dominic-like heat now. I know that Dominic's heat is kind of going down a little bit, but people hate Yuta. And yeah, it's working really well for him, to be fair. He's using it to his advantage. I thought that him getting the pin here was really clever, and I thought it was probably the best way to go for, just because of how much people hate him. It helps bring that heat back to the Deathriders when people probably don't care as much as they used to. For me, the Deathriders controlled the match for the most part. I don't know whether it was more because Copeland was really old. But no, I think, no, to be fair, no, it was just a case of, like, out of everyone in the ring, I would have argued that Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler are probably the better wrestlers compared to FTR and Copeland. Therefore, it made sense that they controlled the match, and they're the heels. They wanted that kind of big pop for when Copeland came in and got the hot tag, which, again, worked really well. It kind of went down the traditional ways of a six-man match. And yeah, it was just like, again, another solid match from the middle, but it was more unpredictable, which kind of brought it better than the other two matches I've just talked about. And then, yeah, after the match, we had FTR turn on Copeland and like pile driver, I think like 3 times with the spike pile driver. I loved the way that Cash stole the net brace and put it on for a little bit, and then Dax gave him CPR on the stretcher and then flipped the whole thing. It was very funny. But yeah, FTR for me are so much better as a heel team, and I'm so glad that they're going to go with this. It's kind of a shame that the Hurt Syndicate are tag champions right now, because it feels like FTR should definitely be back in the tag team championship picture. But then at the same time, you know, it feels like the Hurt Syndicate are only just getting started with being tag team champions. So I'm not sure where they're going to go with this one, or whether FTR are just going to go on a great tag team run just without the titles, which I can fully see them doing as well, because they're such a good tag team. In my opinion, did Copeland deserve to get turned on? Absolutely. He was trying to break those two up, I think, like by doing slightly more manipulating things to Cash than Dax. But yeah, like, and Copeland's just a selfish bastard, so, you know, why did he not deserve it? Well, he did deserve it, so fuck him. No, I'm joking, obviously. I have a lot of disdain for Copeland. That's very personal to me. I know a lot of people, I understand why a lot of people like him. They're like nostalgic stuff. But yeah, no, for me, it made sense also that the Deathriders retained here. I wrote in my notes that like no team seems to be really close to them right now as far as like taking the titles. That was very quickly kind of taken away from me when what happened in the main event happened, which I'll get to. But yeah, I did think there was no real trios that were close to him, but apparently there might be one. But yeah, I said overall really good match, unpredictable, which helped it a lot. And yeah, very glad that Copeland got turned on by FTR. After that, we had Toni Storm defeat Megan Bayne to retain the AEW Women's World Championship in what was a very good match. Bayne looked incredible in this match. Like, she fully deserved to get the win here. And yeah, she just, like, the showing for her was, like, really, really good. Like, they were really setting her up to be, like, this absolute force in the women's division. And yeah, it worked perfectly. Everything about it screamed that Bayne was going to get the win here and kind of surprise everyone, really. Obviously that was not the case, but yeah, Bayne controlled for the majority of the match. She looked completely unstoppable, even when Storm like gave her everything. The fact that they did like a load of stuff and Bayne was just either not selling it or was it wasn't even like a, I don't know the word, I'm trying to think of the right word here, but it wasn't, I can't think of anything. It just like what. Oh, but my brain is completely going to blanks here. But like, yeah, it's just nothing was stopping Megan Bayne. But that's like what's what unstoppable means, which I've already said. I did like the way that Luther ejected Penelope Ford from ringside. I thought that was really clever. Even though we fully know that Penelope Ford could probably beat the shit out of Luther and just gone back out there again. It worked really well for how the match turned out. It gave Toni Storm the advantage to take up. Well, she took advantage of that distraction for Megan Bayne, which put her on top for like a smidge of the match before Bayne just took over again. Yeah, for me, this was very much Bayne's match to lose. And yeah, unfortunately she did, because she very much didn't deserve to lose this match at all. The German suplex, Bayne landed awfully on like her forehead. It was very similar to the facebuster or the Fallen Angel that Hangman did to MJF at Revolution. Like, Megan Bayne just landed straight on her face, which looked awful. But yeah, like, but when Toni Storm did get that full advantage over the match, 4 hip attacks. Was it 4 or was it 3? It was 3 or 4 hip attacks and a Storm 0, and Bayne kicks out at 1. It was unbelievable. Yeah, at that point I kind of popped and wanted Bayne to get the win. That was kind of the point where I was like, fuck it, give Bayne the title. She fucking deserves it. This is incredible. Yeah, I thought just after the flurry, after that, I think she I don't know what she did exactly, but then she went for a finisher. And yeah, she got rolled up. Storm, for me, stole this one. I don't think I've seen a bigger match be stolen before we get to fucking Bandido versus Jericho. But yeah, Storm barely survived this match. And honestly, I'd have given Bayne the title at that point. I'd have probably, I know people don't like it when they say this kind of stuff, but I'd have probably called an audible and just given Bayne the title, because that was an incredible performance from Megan Bayne. And over on the Wrestling For You website that I do reports for, I'm going to start doing Wrestlers of the Month. Bayne is 100% getting on that list, because she's had an incredible month, even already. We're only 7 days in, and this performance was just fantastic from her. But yeah, very disappointed not to see Bayne win here. Very impressive showing from her, and Storm barely gets away with a title defense. After that, we had Fletcher defeat Briscoe in the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And yeah, this was a really good match. Fletcher, looked so good in this one and proved once that, I don't think there's matches where Fletcher just doesn't look awesome now. He's having banger matches after banger match after banger match, whether it's tag team, whether it's singles, whether it's trios. He is just absolutely killing it right now. And if they don't put a title on this guy sooner rather than later, I feel like they're going to end up missing a beat here. But yeah, this was very evenly contested compared to some of the rest of the matches we saw beforehand. But yeah, I mean, it worked really well. The pairing was really good. I know this was their 4th match. But yeah, the other 3 matches seemed to set up this match really well for the success it was going to be. Yeah, there was good back and forth. Fletcher's moveset is so good and so innovative, and he changes it around kind of a little bits though. Not completely changes it, but little bits get changed every single time. The turnbuckle brainbuster is a awful looking move, and I would hate to take it, and I cringe every time I see it, whether it's on a bigger guy like Brody King, or whether it's on I don't want to say smaller guy, but smaller than Brody King, obviously, in a guy like Briscoe. For me, I feel like Hangman's going to get through to the next round of the Owen and beat whoever the wild card is. And yeah, him versus Hangman is going to be such a classic match. I can't wait to see that go down on, I assume, Dynamite or Collision. But yeah, I fully expected Fletcher to win this match. And it was way more competitive than I expected. I'm not the biggest Briscoe guy, though I am coming around to him a lot more. I did get Honor Club, so I'm looking at watching more of his tag matches with his brother. But yeah, for me, this match was really good, really solid to put where it was, especially with a lot of good matches coming up. And yeah, they showed out really well. Fletcher looked incredible once again, and as I said, they really got to take advantage of how good Fletcher is and put a title on him, because for me, he's probably one of the better wrestlers on the roster right now, and he's definitely starting to hit a real prime in his career, even though his prime could last a very, very long time. For me, he's the person I'd probably put the TNT title on to make it feel worthy, or make it feel legit again. I know they just put it on Adam Cole, but yeah, for me, Fletcher would be ideal to put that title on to make it feel important again. Following that, we have Bandido defeating Chris Jericho to become the new Ring of Honor World Champion in a match that, honestly, I had no idea which way it was going to go. I couldn't see them taking the mask off Bandido, but I also couldn't see them taking the title off Jericho either. So I was very invested going into this match, more than I expected anyway. And yeah, this was really good. I'd probably say this was the second best match of the night, and I was very surprised to see that. I didn't really have much investment going in anyway, just because I don't watch Ring of Honor, and I don't know, it just feels a bit meh, they're just putting this on the card because they needed something on, or that seems to be the choice when the Ring of Honor World title is on the AEW pay-per-views. But I was very quickly invested into this one when I realised just how good Bandido is. I haven't seen much of Bandido. I know how good he is. Before he got injured and was out for a while, I did enjoy his matches, but not to a point where I'd say I was a big fan of his. But yeah, for me, Bandido has pretty much everything. He has the high flying stuff that a luchador would do. He's really strong. He gorilla pressed Chris Jericho with one arm at one point. And it was only for a couple of seconds. It was only for one arm, but it was still very impressive. And yeah, he just for me, he is the complete luchador. He is very, very good. And yeah, I was very surprised by how good this was, just because I didn't really know that much about Bandido, and Jericho is Jericho. He's very much hit and miss at the minute, especially more recent times. But for me, this was Jericho's best match in very recent times. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a Jericho match quite this much. I did find it quite funny. I realised while the entrance was happening, Chris Jericho and Chad Gable, I think, have the same gimmick. They both hate luchadors and all that kind of stuff. Is that Jericho's stealing masks of luchadors and Gable's becoming one? I don't know, it's really weird. But yeah, they both just have this disdain for luchadors, which I found quite funny when I realised. But yeah, no, for me, this match worked a lot better than I anticipated. Obviously, again, lack of knowledge probably didn't help me on that one, and I'm sure some people will say I'm an idiot for thinking that. But yeah, this very much was a lot better than I expected and a very pleasant surprise. But when I write my notes, I do it as the match is going on, so then I know what I was thinking in the moment. And then the finish happened, and my lord, I was very surprised that they had Jericho win originally. I was like, oh shit, like, the rest are going to have Bandido unmask, and it's going to be really, like, I don't want to say, like, controversial. I know it's a controversial finish, but, like, the baseball bat and all that kind of thing is very Jericho way of winning. So it didn't surprise me. That's how it went down. I was very surprised they were going to have Bandido unmask. And then, like, they went through this whole process of, like, Bandido's mum and sister got involved. They brought them out from the crowd. They told the referees that he used a bat, showed them where the bat was, and instead of going like, oh, is there any footage of this going down? No, they just believed them and was like, oh yeah, Jericho clearly used the bat, even though there was zero evidence. Like, the fans knew, but the referees didn't know that Jericho used the bat. There was no evidence suggesting. It didn't have, like, Bandido's blood on it or anything like that would suggest that, you know, he definitely used the bat. It was utter bullshit. Like, Jericho got screwed not once, but twice. Because the match got restarted because his mum and sister fucking, you know, pulled out a bat from the steps, which automatically means he definitely used it. But then the match got restarted. They announced the match was going to be restarted. Jericho grabs his sister. His sister slaps Jericho, which is a disqualification. Therefore, Jericho wins again. No, that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything, even though she did it right in front of a referee. Bandido hits his finisher and gets the pin for the win. Like, Jericho was screwed twice. This is worse than Montreal. That's how bad this screw job was. Like, honestly, Bandido does not deserve that title, and it should be back on Jericho. And I hope they made, like, a massive deal out of this, because it would make sense that kind of Jericho would make a massive deal out of this. But yeah, Jericho was... I can't... This was a travesty. Like, I barely get invested in Ring of Honor stuff. The match was really good. Jericho looked really good. Bandido looked great. The finish was really good. And then Jericho got screwed at the end. Like, this match had nearly everything that it needed to be. And yeah, it was very much enjoyable. I'm very much invested in this story now if they carry it on between Bandido and Jericho. And yeah, like, justice for Chris Jericho. Hashtag it. Put it on the internet. Hashtag for justice for Chris Jericho, because he deserves to still be champion right now. After that, we had Adam Cole defeat Daniel Garcia to become the new TNT champion. And yeah, I expected more out of this one, to be honest. Like, it was a decent match, but I wanted that little bit more. The first two matches were pretty decent, and I expected them to kind of not hold back as much on, like, the pay-per-view. But yeah, this was Daniel Garcia's match to lose, in my opinion. And it was very unfortunate that he did. You know, the more aggressive and side of Garcia, he wasn't hesitating over the ankle injury that Cole pretty much reaggravated very quickly into the match. And yeah, it showed good killer instinct from Garcia, which I feel like a lot of his opponents have questioned in the past. But yeah, for me, the win for Adam Cole did not feel deserved at all. It felt like he very much stole the title from Daniel Garcia. And yeah, I don't know, it kind of... This one was like a very nice drink that had a very weird aftertaste. Like, this should have been a really, really solid match between the two. They really could have gone long as well with this one, which I feel like one match went too long, which we'll get to, and this match didn't go long enough. And I felt like if the injury is a shoot injury, then fair enough. And like, there's nothing they can really do about that. If it was worked, which I'm hoping it is, because I don't want Cole to like immediately have to vacate the title because he's done his ankling again. Yeah, it just felt like a really weird way to go for this one. Like, Daniel Garcia looks really good coming out of this match. He controlled for the most part. Well, no, he controlled for like the majority of this match. It was mostly him. He was really pushing Adam Cole to the limit and really showing that, like, as I said, he has that killer instinct about him. Never hesitated about doing stuff for the ankle. Even went for the pile driver off the top rope, which I know didn't work out. But the fact that he's willing to go for that just against Adam Cole and not against like the intensity of a rivalry like he did with MJF is like a really good showing for him. For me, 4 Panama Sunrises, 3 from Cole, 1 from Daniel Garcia, was overkill in my opinion. I don't think there needs to be 4 Canadian destroyers in a match. Garcia doing Adam Cole's Panama Sunrise and the last shot, or the boom I think they call it, because I've been watching a lot of NXT I keep calling it the last shot. It seemed unnecessary. I felt like Daniel Garcia could have quite easily done this by himself. But yeah, no, for me it didn't really make sense to me why Garcia would take Cole's moves. It's not like it was a heel base situation. It was very much a babyface versus babyface match. But yeah, as I said, I hope the injury is a work and that Cole will be okay to defend the TNT title, because I do hope that he's going to make it legit again, like I said in my predictions. I feel like if they're going to put the title on somebody who's going to make it feel like worth something again, Adam Cole's a very good person to put the title on for that. But yeah, so for me, again, Daniel Garcia should never have lost this match. It was his match to lose, and unfortunately, as I said, he did. But yeah, for me, I'm hoping this kind of comes around again and maybe Garcia takes the title from Cole. But yeah, for me, it just left a really sour taste in my mouth afterwards, because Cole never deserved to win this match. He never got into it, and I get they did the whole injury angle, but yeah, for me, Garcia should have definitely retained here, and he had his title stolen from him. Following that, we had Kenny Omega defeat Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey to retain the International Championship. And as expected, it was a very high-paced match. It was high-octane. Everything was really good about this one. And overall, it was a really good match. A little bit too much, in my opinion. I felt like this match went way too long, in my opinion. They could have cut like a good 10 minutes off this match. But yeah, like, Ricochet has had like a career revitalized since moving to AEW. Speedball is arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world, and yeah, like, he's just continues to be really awesome at wrestling. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And yeah, Omega is like one of the best, and like, he never doesn't look great. So yeah, this match was always going to work really well. It was always going to be a very good match. All 3 looked very decent. They all had a good time on top. They all had very good showings individually, as well as like Speedball and Omega working together against Ricochet. Yeah, we didn't see a lot of like Ricochet working with the other 2. It was very much a case of like, it was either Omega and Speedball working together, or they were all going against each other. But yeah, like, for me, like, I would have said that Ricochet won this match on points. I know that it's a very Don Callis thing to say, but yeah, for me, Ricochet was probably the MVP of the match. Speedball looked good as well. Like, do not get me wrong, Speedball looked very good in this one. Omega, not so much in my opinion, but we'll get to that. But yeah, the spinning heel kick from Speedball to Omega was beautiful every time he did it. Like, and Omega took a lot of kicks to the head in this one. Kenny, this is what kind of annoyed me about this match. There was a point in the match where Ricochet hits Vertigo on Mike Bailey, and you can just see Kenny Omega just stuck there watching. Like, he's up against things. We're supposed to believe that like, he's out, down and out, can't think. Then just have him sit on the floor. Have him lay on the floor. Like, you can see Omega is just there watching this whole pinfall. Ricochet is essentially hit his finisher and is going to win the match. Omega, no urgency at all to get in the match. For me, that showed that Omega was almost blown up a little bit and kind of wasn't ready for this high-octane match, as I said before, that Speedball and Ricochet can definitely put on. And yeah, it kind of took away from the match for me. I don't think Omega was quite ready for this one. And yeah, for me, like, there was even a point where Omega's out of this match for like a good 10 minutes. And he's just laid there on the floor while Ricochet and Speedball are going out killing each other, essentially. Yeah, Omega's just out, laying there, not involved at all. And again, he could have just laid out in at ringside so that no one can see him. So he's like out of sight, out of mind. But because he's laid out in the ring, we can see him, and it's kind of just like he's just there, and he's not really doing anything to protect his championship, all that kind of thing. Yeah, for me also, Ricochet hesitated just a little bit too much when doing moves. He kind of like stopped and then got ready and then did the move. And Speedball very similarly would do the pose. He would like do that a lot. He doesn't need to do that every time he's going to do a move off the top, or every time he's going to do a move that he would regularly do in his moveset to kind of see the finish of a match. And yeah, that kind of stagnated the matches at times because they didn't need to do those things. But yeah, like, and near the end, it kind of got really silly with kickouts. Like, this match should have finished like 10 minutes before it actually should have. Omega was definitely out of the match when it should have finished. And yeah, ideally, Speedball or Ricochet should be the International Champion right now because like the way it worked out was one of those two were winning at one point and Omega was like nowhere to be seen. But yeah, as I said, it just went that a little bit too long in my opinion. I didn't see... Once the match finished, the one-winged angel off the top was really good. I was really worried about how they were going to do it, but luckily Omega did jump backwards enough for it to work really well. I feel like Ricochet was probably the better person to take that spot because of like, I think he's like more nimble in that way. Not that Speedball isn't. I just like Ricochet was the better person for that one. And then yeah, after the match, Okada came out and had I don't want to say had a face-off because like they were there for like a couple of seconds and then Omega left. Controversially, I think, in my opinion, Omega's not ready to face Okada. Like, because essentially people are going to see this match happen, or at least they're going to see it booked, probably at All In, and people are going to see the graphic and they're going to put it straight to the standard of the New Japan matches, and they really, really should not do that, because this match is probably going to be one of the worser matches they've had, which will still be a great match, don't get me wrong, these are the two best wrestlers probably ever, but for me Omega is not at the point he was when he faced Okada in New Japan. And like, I haven't seen any of the matches, I've only heard about the matches. I only recently, again, just like I've just got Honor Club, I've truly just got New Japan World, and I do plan on watching the Kenny Omega and Okada matches. But for me, from what I've heard, and like, these are very, very high anticipated match to go for. Omega's not ready for that kind of match, in my opinion. Like, he did not look very good here. He took a lot of offense. He looked very blown up. And yeah, for me, I just don't think it's going to work the way people want, and it's going to massively flop if it doesn't. So yeah, I'd be very hesitant if I was AEW to do Omega versus Okada, because Omega didn't look very good here. And for me, as I said, I know he retained and it was all very good, but yeah, and the match wasn't bad. I know I've talked very negatively about the match. The match was very good. Like, wasn't the best match of the night and wasn't close to the best match of the night. But yeah, for me, it was more a case of timing, and something just felt a bit off with it. And then it got silly near the end with kickouts, so it made it a little bit less enjoyable nearer to the end. But yeah, like I said, it was good for what it was. But yeah, it again, similar to like Cole and Garcia, it did leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth near the end. And finally, we have the main event. Oh, the main event. It feels like this is very much the feeling we get out of every main event. But the match itself, I'll talk about the match itself, and then we'll get on to what happened afterwards. But yeah, I thought it was great. I thought that this was match of the night by far. I very much enjoyed it. Swerve wrestled more or less the perfect match in my opinion, and Moxley barely escapes with the AEW World title again. The title never felt in jeopardy. I think, you know, with how things have ended in the past, we kind of got used to kind of not feeling like the title is massively in jeopardy until everyone's got involved, and then we'll see what it's like afterwards. When the Ops got involved, when Marina got taken out, and when it was just Swerve and Moxley, that's when it felt like the title was in jeopardy, and then things happened how they did. We will get to it. But my thoughts in the first 5 minutes was Swerve was wrestling kind of every single kind of match you could possibly have. There was technical wrestling, there was brawling, and then we got to fighting and we got to violence, because Moxley said that like he wants to see people hit their potential, and he wants to see Swerve specifically hit his potential in AEW, even though like arguably Swerve has already hit his potential and surpassed it. But yeah, it was such a case of like them wrestling every kind of match they could. So not to say that he needs to, but Swerve can prove that he can like outdo Moxley in every single way, which arguably he did. I felt like it worked really well, and yeah, it kind of got to a point where Swerve was very much on top of the wrestling aspects of the match. Therefore, Moxley changed it around to get to a more violent part of the match, which is where, you know, all the blood happened and the table spot and all that kind of stuff all happened. But yeah, 15 minutes into it, like, as I said, Moxley then took a turn in the match, and it very much got to the point of like seeing, in Moxley's words, how far Swerve is willing to go and endure. You know, we had the submissions, we had, you know, him busting open Swerve and him targeting the area which was busted open, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I feel like Swerve very much did overcome that. We got to a point where Swerve, like he does during these kind of matches, he's smiling with all blood over his face, and he's kind of taking Moxley to the limit, even though like he shouldn't be because he's all banged up. But yeah, then Swerve took over. He wrestled he did the strikes really well, and he controlled like. So yeah, so as I said, Moxley very then turned it into violence, very turned it into fighting as well, and yeah, it nicely evens out. When we get into the deeper water, Moxley and Swerve are going back and forth multiple times, big moves. Not as much moves, you know, going back and forth with strikes and elbows and slaps and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, then Swerve hits the paradigm shift, which was probably the closest pinfall of the match that didn't get the win. That was so close. The stomp through the table was really cool. I was very worried that Moxley was going to go for a superplex off into the table, but then Swerve would reverse it and Moxley would land on the stairs that were right next to them. Luckily that didn't happen because I felt like that would have been a brutal bump to take, but if anyone was willing to take it, of course it was Jon Moxley. But yeah, I think, you know, Hangman, we then got to like the latter part of the match, the part where everyone starts getting involved, you know, that kind of, I don't want to call it like the Bloodline Rules spot from WrestleMania last year, where Hangman got involved and he couldn't decide he was going to help, and the Deathriders came out and took him out, and then he took out Moxley, which either on purpose or accidentally helped Swerve. Then the Ops came out, which again, as I said from the Trios match, didn't even consider the Ops to be in the realm of the Trios titles, but of course they are. They're like an awesome team, and they've come out here to help Swerve, so naturally it makes the most sense to have the Ops face the Deathriders for the Trios titles next. We then got oh my god, where am I got? So I'm trying to read my notes at the same time, so do forgive me. So yeah, everyone's taken out. The Deathriders are gone because of the Ops. Swerve has this match dead to rights. He has got Moxley down. He's only for 3. Lights go out. You think, wait a minute, Malachi Black isn't part of AEW anymore. And the fucking Young Bucks, because of course it's them. Like, oh, I couldn't believe it. Like, as I said, it was like that moment where we had that split second where we thought, this is finally over. Moxley's finally going to lose the match. And then the reality kicks in. And yeah, of course he's not going to lose it. I even wrote on my notes, like, I was completely speechless. My head was in my hands. I didn't know what to think afterwards. Like, because the thing is like, I'm not even trying to think of reasons why the Bucks would do that. It was just a case of like, of course it's the Bucks. When everything is going too perfectly, who are you going to bring back to ruin everything? Oh, well, the Bucks, obviously. Like, oh, it was just like so disappointing because Swerve fully deserved it, and he had the match dead to rights. And yeah, it just wasn't the case, and the Deathriders story carries on, which, to be fair, and I said in my predictions, I'm happy that Moxley is still champion. I'm happy as Swerve became champion. I preferred that Swerve would become champion. And yeah, after everybody got taken out, Marina was out, you know, the Ops had taken out the Deathriders, Hangman was there after he got taken out by the Deathriders. I thought that this was going to be it, and we were going to do the whole Hangman helped Swerve, even though Hangman hates Swerve, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I thought that was going to be it, like everyone else did. And the Bucks, like, honestly, and the thing is that we don't even know if we're going to get an explanation, like, even if we need one, because the Bucks never show up on AEW anymore. Like, they've been doing more New Japan stuff. They are the IWGP World Tag Team Champions, but oh no, they're not. They lost them. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's really weird. I can't see. I bet they're probably not going to be on Dynamite, or they'll do like a video where they don't really tell us much. A bit like they do this in WWE, like with the John Cena stuff, where Cena didn't really explain until like 3 weeks down the line. But it makes sense that the Bucks are back for Double or Nothing, because that's kind of the show that started of everything, whatever. It's not their biggest show of the year anymore, even though it probably should be. But yeah, as I said, as a match, it was very, very good. And as I said, for me, it was match of the night. Swerve, more or less, wrestled the perfect match here. And yeah, it's such a shame that he didn't get the win, because he did fully deserve it. As I said, Moxley escapes again, which we kind of got used to at this point. And yeah, I don't know if I want an explanation from the books, because it's just so typical that it'd be them they bring back to do this. But I don't know, it is what it is. But the match itself was very, very good. I would definitely go watch it just for the match itself. So there were my thoughts and opinions on AEW Dynasty 2025. This as a whole show, how to describe it. Like, the wrestling quality was really good. Like, do not get me wrong, some of the matches on this show were very, very good. And, you know, you've got Bandido and Jericho was really good, even though it ended badly. Swerve and Moxley was very, very good, but it ended badly. Megan Bayne looked absolutely incredible, but it ended badly. Yeah, it was like, as I described in the Adam Cole and Garcia match. Not just that match, the whole event itself was kind of like having a nice drink, like a really good drink, but it has a really bad aftertaste, because there was a lot of questionable things done here. Like, it's not even, I think it's like, most of it isn't even confusion. It's just like, why do they keep doing this? Like, they have a really good show, really great stuff, really good matches throughout, but like, things just like didn't work out the way they should have. And yeah, it makes me want to watch Dynamite. It makes me want to watch Collision to see what the fallout of all these things are, which is kind of the point of why they're doing this. But it's just like, at what point do we go back to having just like awesome matches with awesome results and nothing, which worked really well? You know, you think back to 2021 and 2022 when things were just really cool, unless your name was Pepsi Phil. But yeah, like I said, it was just like really great. But yeah, for me, it was a night of champions where they barely survived, apart from the Hurt Syndicate, who quite easily survived their match, or they undeservingly lost. Like, you know, Storm barely survived with the title, Moxley barely survives with the title. And then you've got guys like Daniel Garcia, who didn't deserve to lose his championship. Jericho got absolutely screwed. But I won't go into that again, because I will get irate again. But yeah, for me, as I said, it was an interesting pay-per-view. It wasn't the best they've done. It's not the worst they've done. But it was just like very questionable stuff happened, which is kind of why like it's caused more confusion. And it's not a question of like, oh, why did they do this? Why did they do that? It's a case of, when do we stop this silly bullshit? Pretty much, especially when it comes to the main event and the Deathriders. And like, because there's really no obvious challenger for Moxley at Double or Nothing. Like, you know, they could go with Swerve again, which is the one I'd go for, but then he'll probably want to face the Bucks, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did Hangman and Swerve versus the Young Bucks, like my mate Bobby said last night to me. You know, there's the factor of the Owen, you know, the fact that Ospreay's in the Owen, Takeshita's in the Owen, Kyle Fletcher's in the Owen, and Hangman's in the Owen, and we don't even know who the wildcard is. I have a pretty good idea over who the wildcard might be, just because we've now seen Okada on the pay-per-view, the Bucks have reappeared. That means there's only one other person in the Elite who the wildcard could be, and that could be Jack Perry, because he's the only one that we haven't seen from the Elite who are now showing back up again because it's Double or Nothing. But yeah, so put down in the comments what you thought of the pay-per-view, or the goods, or the bads, or the indifferences. And yeah, we can have like a good discussion about it, because I feel like a lot of this show is up for discussion. But yeah, do like the video if you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if it is a little bit of a long one. It feels like recording it like it's going to be a bit of a long one, so I apologise for that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.